Good morning, everyone. Last night I was on AJ's channel for about an hour. I really liked the format of the long form discussion, and Frederick was there too. I thought the conversation was interesting, and I thought it was a worthwhile use of time. I'm sure I'll try and put a link in the description. There isn't one right now. And I am going to be picked up in about 10 minutes. So, because I'm going to this. So that's kind of cool. That's today. I'm driving to Toronto. And I'm one of the lucky 75. So I'm excited about this, and it should be a lot of fun. And on to today's story. National Observer is reporting, quote, two Loblaws lobbyists, one of which helped steer the company towards a controversial $12 million federal grant for their refrigerators, also donated to Liberals and attended a partisan fundraising event with Trudeau. Reports. Okay, and so here it is. The link is in the description, so you can read it yourself and make up your own mind. However, the report says, two Loblaws lobbyists, one of which helped steer the company towards a controversial $12 million federal grant to reduce the energy consumption of their refrigerators, also donated frequently to the Liberal Party and attended a partisan fundraising event with the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. Environment and Climate Change Minister Catherine McKenna and two of her senior officials also met with one of the lobbyists representing Loblaws companies Limited soon after the grant program had opened to businesses, her office confirmed. McKenna's office said the meeting with the lobbyist was on another topic, plastic waste, and that the grant was awarded following a fair and competitive process. Loblaw companies also denied that the grant for their fridges was awarded because of lobbying or preferential treatment, and the lobbyist in question said they never lobbied the government over the program on behalf of the company. But the connections and money flowing between individuals representing Loblaws and the Liberal Party, quote, doesn't pass the smell test, argued NDP ethics critic Charlie Angus. This is a company that has huge capacity, huge tentacles, huge lobbying, he said in an interview. Quote, they're very comfortable with the Prime Minister. They're attending fundraisers with the Prime Minister and senior staff from the Minister's and Minister of Environment's office. So this is a very comfy, cozy relationship. For the Liberals to say Loblaws won this challenge fair and square is ridiculous. The Liberal government has been criticized for weeks over its decision to hand public money to Loblaws companies, one of Canada's largest corporations, to help make refrigeration systems at hundreds of its supermarkets more efficient. Conservative environment critic Ed Fast has blasted the Trudeau Liberals for giving handouts to, quote, the wealthy and well-connected. On Monday, the NDP demanded that the government cancel the $12 million grant. McKenna had said Loblaws won the grant out of the government's $500 million Low Carbon Economy Challenge, LCEC, through a competitive process driven by her department, and that it helped slash the company's annual carbon pollution by roughly a quarter, while the company pays for 3/4 of the cost. I scroll down. A review of the lobbying and political donation record, as well as attendance records at the Liberal Party donor events, shows that while Loblaws was awaiting the results of this competition, it retained Liberal-friendly lobbyists pushing its message in close proximity to powerful people in Canadian politics. This is a common practice for large companies in dealings with government of all political stripes. It is also common for government officials to accept meetings with stakeholders to discuss issues of public policy and ensure that they are informed about the consequences and impacts of important decisions. Summa Strategies senior advisor Joanne Dobson, who is a former Liberal political advisor and consultant Meredith Logan, are both registered to lobby the government on behalf of Loblaws companies on a range of topics, including environment and the Federal Environment Department. They have also given thousands of dollars to the Liberal Party, according to fundraising records held by Election Canada. Dobson gave a combined $2,886.83 between 2012 and 2018, while Logan gave $3,175 between 2014 and 2018 records show. Both gave their giving over dozens of donations. They also attended a large Liberal donor appreciation event in Ottawa on June 18, 2018, according to the Liberal Party's attendance through records of these events. A Hill Times story covering the event says Party President Suzanne Cowan gave a speech followed by Trudeau's wife, Sophie Gregory Trudeau, and then the Prime Minister himself. I scroll down just a bit. Dobson had communicated with McKenna months earlier, March 27, 2018, on behalf of Loblaws, according to the lobbyist registry, where the minister was joined by McDonald and Chief of Staff Mario Reynolds. McKenna's office confirmed the record of communication was an actual meeting between these three individuals. That meeting was held just 2 weeks after expression of interest had opened for business to compete for a slice of the grant program on March 14th, 2018. But McKenna's press secretary, Sabrina Kim, said the meeting was, quote, regarding plastics, not the grant program. Attendees specifically discussed the federal government's commitment to a national zero plastic waste strategy and to discuss actions and commitments that Loblaws can make, she wrote in an emailed response to questions. And I just wanted to remind you guys, do you remember what cream eggs used to look like? Doesn't look like that. It used to look like that with the foil, right? The foil wrapper. I remember the foil. I don't think there's a big foil patch floating in the plastic. And yet here is the current cream egg packaging in Canada. That's all plastic. straws, right? Straws are going to be the bane of us. Unless you carry chocolate, don't worry about plastics, right? It's kind of weird, kind of strange. And strange that, I mean, and I'm not implying that Loblaws has control of Cadbury, but I mean, if you're going for a zero plastic thing, to move from this to this seems weird, right? Okay, so back to this. Loblaws does defend themselves, and I'll give them the chance here. It says, grant not linked to well-connected lobbyists, says Loblaws. Loblaws company's senior director of external communications, Catherine Thomas, denied that the company was able to secure the $12 million grant because of its well-connected lobbyists. Quote, any claims that this was awarded because of preferential treatment or lobbying are untrue, wrote Thomas in an email. Like dozens of other companies, we receive funding from the Low Carbon Economy Fund following an online application process and based on our ability to make a meaningful contribution to emissions reduction. And I scroll down again. This is almost the end of the article. It says, this is back to Charlie Angus, the NDP person. He says, quote, Angus said it was, quote, a ridiculous provocation that lobbyists who donate to the party can get invited to an event thanking them for being a donor, but can't pay to attend what he called the Cash for Access fundraiser, a traditional donor event with a specific entry fee. Quote, they're still meeting the Prime Minister, they're still able to access the top ministerial staff for a file that they're lobbying on, and they're being thanked for their money at the same time, he said, of the donor appreciation events. Yeah, quite interesting, right? The last story for this morning, and I really do have to go. I think my ride's here. He is Tom Quiggin saying Britain's defense secretary fired in wake of government leaks to Huawei. And why does this matter? Because Huawei is one of the companies still in the running, and Justin Trudeau will claim no decision has been made, but I think they're just waiting to leave the public top of mind enough for them to make a decision, but whatever. But having Britain's defense secretary fired in relation to leaking to Huawei, that's a pretty big deal. So here it is, Global News is reporting. This is reported May 1st. Britain's defense secretary fired in wake of government leaks to Huawei. British Defense Secretary Gavin Williamson was summarily fired Wednesday after an investigation into leaks from a secret government meeting about Chinese telecoms from Huawei. In a letter to Williamson, Prime Minister Theresa May said that, quote, she can no longer have full confidence in Williamson in the wake of the investigation. I scroll down. There was no immediate communication from Williamson. Penny Mordaunt, sorry if I've got that wrong, the International Development Secretary, has been appointed as Williamson's replacement. She becomes the first woman to hold the post. An investigation was launched last week after newspapers reported that the Security Council, which meets in private, had agreed to let Huawei participate in some aspects of Britain's new 5G wireless communication network. The government insists no decision has been made about Huawei. The United States has been lobbying allies to exclude Huawei from all 5G networks, noting that the Chinese government can force the company to give it a backdoor access to data on its networks. The Security Council includes senior ministers who receive briefings from top military and intelligence officials, and its meetings are considered highly sensitive. Okay, so we are also an ally to the United States, and it's interesting watching all this stuff play out. This should inform the national conversation. This should be shaping it, and so should the United States stance that because the Chinese government can request a backdoor, because Huawei is a Chinese company, they can request a backdoor into the network, right? They get access. And being in the Five Eyes, that grants access to that spying apparatus that is running in the world all the time. Interesting world that we live in. Interesting times. And what do they say about interesting times? Hope you live in boring times, right? But we certainly don't. We certainly don't. I don't think anything that could happen in the next couple of months could be boring, possibly. Anyway, I'm excited to get to this event, so I'm going to not make my ride wait any longer. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will probably not get to another video today because I have lots to do this evening. And, well, thanks for watching. Check out thepeoplespartyofcanada.ca and have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow.